In addition to the options discussed in the previous video, the standard training exercise menu has additional options that can be activated to customize a player's training. These are called the global exercise options and can be found at the bottom of the exercise menu. The first of the global options is current mode. You need to select either standard or accelerated. Standard mode runs through every training and test phase in a sequential order. Accelerated mode allows the player to run through the exercises more quickly and sometimes skip part of the training exercises within each level based on performance. Enable printing allows you to print scores, certificates, and exercise results displayed at the end of an exercise. The box must be checked in order for the print option to be enabled after each exercise is completed. The trainer can still print from the exercise results menu even when this option is disabled. Automatic training allows the player to continuously run through each exercise until the session time limit is reached, all the exercises in a step have been completed, or the player chooses to stop running the exercise. If automatic training is disabled and the player began running the exercises from the exercise menu, the player will return to this menu after each exercise. However, if the player is running from the icon and the automatic training option is disabled, training will stop and the player will return to the desktop after completing an exercise. It is recommended that the automatic training option be enabled in order for the player to complete all the training exercises until the session time limit is reached. The Display Exercise Results/Points option displays the player's points earned during that exercise. When this option is enabled, the player can also click on View Player Rankings to see how his or her total score ranks in comparison to the other players. Trainers may choose to disable this option for situations where comparison to other students may not be beneficial. In this case, no points or player rankings will be displayed at the end of an exercise. Audio feedback enabled allows the player to receive appropriate auditory feedback for correct and incorrect answers. Players will always receive visual feedback for correct and incorrect responses. Summary auditory feedback regarding performance is still given at the end of a trial, even when this option is disabled. When the Pause Command Enabled option is selected, the player can pause an exercise at any time by pressing the letter P on the keyboard. Pressing P again will resume the exercise. This option allows trainers to stop the exercise in order to help the player or to permit the player to take a break if needed. If the exercise is paused during the initial instructions, the instructions will be repeated upon resuming the exercise. In some exercises, the pause feature may temporarily not work if an important prompt or list of items is being presented. If the pause feature is disabled, the player will not be able to pause at any time when the exercise is running. The secret command that the trainer can use to pause an exercise when this option is disabled is activated by pressing the Ctrl, Alt, and P keys simultaneously. The Restart Command Enabled option allows the exercise to be restarted at any time by pressing Ctrl and R simultaneously on the keyboard. The current exercise will start again from the beginning and no response data that the player previously made will be saved. The secret command to restart the exercise when this option is disabled is activated by pressing Ctrl, Alt, and R simultaneously. The next option is Abort Command Enabled. This option allows the player to exit the current exercise at any time by pressing the Escape key on the keyboard. The exercise will stop and the player will be taken back to the exercise menu. However, if running from an icon, the player will be taken back to the desktop. If the Escape key is pressed before the exercise is completed, no data will be saved for the current exercise. The secret command to exit an exercise when this option is disabled is activated by pressing Ctrl, Alt, and F1 simultaneously. The Game Breaks Enabled option rewards players with brief, entertaining, brain-building video game breaks when they are successful in passing an exercise. When this option is enabled, you can select the frequency at which a game break is presented by using the up and down arrows. 100% frequency will reward the player with a game break after each passed exercise. From the TNT Reading Pro menu, you can also reward the player with a video game break at any time by clicking on the Game Breaks button located on the right side of the screen. Here you can select one of the game breaks and specify the level to play. Please note that when using this game break option, the game break levels do not automatically advance when the player achieves a high score. However, if the player has earned a game break after an exercise and achieves a sufficiently high score, then the next time they play this same game break, they will automatically advance to a more challenging level of difficulty. You can click on the Exit Game Breaks button to return to the exercise menu. The next option is Game Break Music. With this option, you can adjust the volume of the background music for the video game breaks by sliding the bar to the right for louder and to the left for a softer volume. If this option is disabled, no game break music will be played. Session time is the next option. You can set a time limit for the player to run the exercises one after the other. However, the automatic training option will need to be enabled for the exercises to be sequentially presented. The session time can be set from 2 to 90 minutes in 1-minute increments. The timer, by default, is set to 25 minutes. You can change the session time by clicking on the up and down arrows. If the session time limit expires while the player is in the middle of an exercise, the exercise will complete before the session ends. The next step is to select the passing goal. There are 3 passing goals from which to choose. Full Mastery is the most challenging level where the passing percentages are highest. In addition, the speed settings are set to a more difficult level. When Full Mastery is selected, the player will have less time to respond, words will be presented at a faster rate, and objects will move faster around the screen in comparison to other passing goals. Challenging is easier than Full Mastery. The passing percentages are set 10% lower than Full Mastery. All of the speed settings are also set to a slower level. This passing goal is set as the default. Easy Does It is available for students who have many learning challenges, and it is the lowest passing goal. The passing percentages for this level are 10% lower than the challenging level. The speed settings are much easier, allowing the player more time to respond. Words will also be presented at a slower rate and items will move around the screen fairly slowly. The Run options allow you to select what type of exercises to run when starting TNT Reading Pro from the icon. When the Choice option is selected, the player will have to choose whether they want to run the Reading Mastery exercises or the Reading Comprehension exercises each time they start TNT Reading Pro from their icon. Selecting the Alternate option will result in the player automatically switching back and forth between Reading Mastery and Reading Comprehension exercises. Selection of the Mastery option will result in the player only running the Reading Mastery exercises when they click on their icon. The Comprehension option results in the player running only the Reading Comprehension exercises when running exercises from their icon. The next option to choose from is Exercise Types. This option changes the exercises both in icon mode and when TNT Reading Pro is started from the exercise menu. It allows you to select the exercise type to be tested and trained. Selecting the All option will allow all of the reading and cognitive programs in each step to be run. By selecting the Reading option, only the reading programs will be presented. Selecting the Cognitive option will result in the player only being given cognitive exercises. The last option that will be reviewed is called Train Mode. It is recommended that Train first be selected, and it is the default. In this mode, the player starts with the basic training exercise of the selected program and then completes the 2 other training exercises before starting the test phase. This option provides the player with a greater variety of different exercises to complete. Whether or not the test phase is passed, the player continues on to the basic training exercise of the next program. For example, from uppercase letters to lowercase letters. Once all the programs have been run through within the selected step, the player then goes back to the first program. If the test was passed the first time, the player will automatically be advanced to the next level. If the test was failed, the player will be required to repeat the training and test again for the same level. When using Test First mode, the test phase is administered first, followed by the 3 training exercises. If the player passes the test, showing mastery at their passing goal level, they automatically skip the training exercises and advance to the test phase of the next training level. For example, after passing the level of letters A through E, he or she will then be tested on letters F through J. If the test was not passed, the player will have to complete the training exercises and not advance to the next training level until the test phase of the current training level is passed. If help is needed with the exercise menu, click on the arrow next to the Help button. This will display a list of all the available help documents that pertain to this menu. Select Exercise Menu Help for more details regarding all of the exercise menu options. This concludes this instructional video. The next instructional video is Training Plan Options and Customization.